things are changing. Welcome back to another episode. I'm Joey Schroxel. This is my vlog channel where I just talk about how I'm doing on the program I'm on now, the high protein cutting program, and just kind of giving you some updates. I show you some numbers and all that. All of my recipes and food and daily life stuff is on Plant-Based Dads. That's another channel, and there's a link right up there if you want to click on one of the most recent videos. But this is going to be about just my progress. Okay, so you may remember if you're following this channel that on December 7th, I just kind of had enough and decided that I need to work with a professional to help me get back in shape and lose weight. And that what I was doing on my diet, even though other people were doing it, it was helping them. And I was helping people get in better shape and get in better health. It wasn't happening for me. I was healthy, but I wasn't in the shape I wanted to be. So I contacted a professional here, a local personal trainer who has his own gym. So it's just a private gym. And he's got a few clients, and that's kind of what we did. And that was on December 7th. So we took a scan immediately of my body and all that, and I showed you those numbers. And then I took a scan 30 days later in January, on January 15th, I think. And there was some just shocking results, like a lot of things had changed. Well, since then, if you saw that video, we did another scan on February 15th. And that was about 2.5 weeks ago. It's now March 5th, and I'm just getting around to doing this. And I wanted to go over those numbers with you. So I'm going to show you some things on the screen, and we'll get started. So let's go back to the beginning. December 7th, 2023. You can see my body fat was 33.1%. On January 15th, after about 5 weeks of working out, my body fat had gone down to 30%. And then on February 15th, after about 2 months of working out, my body fat had receded to 29.1%. That is 4% less than what I started, which is a big number. If you look at my fat mass on December 7, 2023, the mass of fat in my body was 57.9 pounds. Then, if you go to January 15th, on the last scan, we talked about it, it went down at 51.4 pounds. I lost a bunch of fat. Now, if you look at February 14th, which is 3 weeks ago, I was down to 48.2 pounds. So I've lost almost 10 pounds of fat. Now, during this, I kept thinking, is that really it? Like, I mean, I'm at 160.4 today for my weight. So I went from 172 to 160.4, so almost 12 pounds. But in my mind, I'm like, well, that's not that great for almost 3 months, right? Like, why am I not losing weight quicker? Why haven't I lost another like 5 pounds? So, you know, I've kind of had that going in my own mind, but I am seeing changes. So I'm kind of like, okay, well, let's just do this for now. Well, I'm about to show you what happened. So now if you look at December 7th, 2023, my lean mass, right? The amount of mass in my body that's just lean muscle was 112.5 pounds. Now I'd worked out for 5 weeks and we worried like, am I losing fat? Am I losing muscle? And if you look at it, my lean mass, when I had lost a bunch of body fat and fat mass, was still 112 pounds, 112.1 pounds. So I didn't really lose any muscle, I just lost fat. So what I'm doing is targeting the body fat, which is exactly what I want. So if you look at that and then compare it to February 14th scan, the third scan, my lean body mass went from 112.1 pounds, and this is why my weight loss isn't any lower. My lean muscle mass went to 113.1 pounds. I gained a pound of muscle. And I guess muscle weighs 4 times as much as fat. So here I am thinking, you know, I should be losing more weight, and I'm losing the fat, but I'm still gaining muscle while it's happening, which is pretty cool. So you kind of really can't, when you're doing this, the scale can't be your guide, or it can't be your only guide, because it's just not telling you the whole story. These numbers, they are telling you the story. The bottom 2 things I'll get into in some of the next slides, but I'm pretty excited here that I've lost almost 10 pounds of fat, I've gained a pound of muscle, and I've lost 4% of my body fat. So 29.1 isn't a beautiful number, but as you'll see later on, it's getting really close to the average. All right, let's go to the next slide. The next slide shows my profile. On December 7th, 2023, you can see that my belly is just kind of hanging out there, and it's not pretty. If you look at January 15, 2024, you can see that the belly's now kind of receding, right? Which is kind of interesting. And if you look at February 15, 2024, now it's gone down. Everything's just kind of tightened up. And I have lost 3 inches off my waist. So it's an obvious change when I put my clothes on. But, and you can see my glutes are kind of like firming up and things are just changing from that January scan. And that one was a change from the December scan. So just subtle or slight differences, but you can see the differences, which is really kind of nice. In the last scan, the February 15th, I'm starting to get some shape to my back now. It isn't just kind of one long just piece of fat, which is kind of nice. All right, let's look at this slide here. So this slide here shows my body composition. On the left, you can see that piece of pie that makes up the fat mass of 33.1%. It's a pretty big chunk of pie. And then if you look to the right on the last scan that we just did, the fat mass is much smaller at 29.1%. And I expect it to be even smaller now because this was 3 weeks ago and I'm having scans every month. So I'm pretty excited about that. I want that blue number to be somewhere around 15%, and then I'll be pretty much, satisfied. And then the last slide I have here is showing you my rank. My rank is my health level. So if you look at your rank on the top, December 7th, 2023, it says the little square, the little rectangle that's red shows my body fat is 33.1%, which is what it was. That means, compared with others, if you look at the little line underneath it, I have lower body fat than 20% of the men in my age group. So 80% of the men from 50 to 59, right, have better body fat numbers than I do. 80% of them. That's nothing to be proud of, right? Like, I'm with the 20% who are in bad shape. Then if you look at the February 15th scan, which is almost the latest one, I'm at 29.1, which we talked about earlier. Well, now that number, if you look at the average is 21 to 27.9. So I'm 1.1% away from being an average. And of course, I want to go down to 15, but I'm so close like now to changing from at risk to average. And really, to me, average is at risk too, because, the average person just is overweight. So I'm pretty excited that I'm at least working down the path to that point. Now, when compared with others now on February 14th, right, I'm at 30%. About 30% of the men in my age group are with me in the range that we're in, and 70% of the men in my age group have better numbers than I do. So before it was 80%, now it's 70%. I am closing that gap like with every scan. So that's pretty exciting. I just wanted to share that with you. I thought you would like to see that. All right, another interesting thing here. Today, Wednesday, March 6, 2024, you can see I always use this green to highlight my lowest weight on the chart. And right now, my lowest weight on my chart, and my chart goes back to early 2018, is today. And every day, it's just kind of, lower. So 160.4. What did I weigh 1 year ago? Today is March 6, 2024. What did I weigh March 6, 2023? On March 6, 2023, I weighed, well, I didn't weigh myself because there was a bunch of days where, I did. All right, Tuesday, Wednesday, I weighed 178 pounds. Here's something interesting. What did I weigh March 6th, 2022? Well, back then, 2022, March 6th, I weighed, right here, 178, the same thing. So like a year had gone by between 2022 and 2023 with no weight loss. So if you look at all these numbers, right, like I keep track of all of this stuff. And today is the lowest weight I have on record for any of this stuff, which is pretty exciting, right? All right, so let's talk about the good and the bad of what's happening to me right now. First, I want to talk about the good. There was a time for years, the last few years, where I would get off the couch, at like 10 o'clock or something, and pull myself up and go, oh man, like my whole body hurts. Like my butt hurts, my legs hurt. Like getting off the couch is at almost 60 years old. It's rough. Like I'm old, right? Like there's nothing I could do about it. These are old man pains. Like this is it, right? Like I'm just getting old. And there's no way around this. That doesn't happen anymore. Like, I don't know if it's because of the high protein or because of the exercise that I'm doing, but, I get off the couch with no problem. There's no pains. There's no sore joints like I had. There's none of that. So that has changed a lot. I don't feel like I'm 60 years old anymore. I feel like, a much younger person again. And I'm really excited about that. So that's definitely a benefit of either the protein or the resistance training exercise, right? It's probably a combination of both. Another thing is I'm not taking naps or anything during the day anymore. I'm not exhausted after work. Like I'm just ready to do everything every day. But I do, I'm 3 times a week I am going to resistance training. So, that's kind of got me going for sure. One of the things I do is I just make sure that I still have a 500 calorie deficit each day. So I make sure I'm measuring my numbers. The other thing is, on the weekends, occasionally I still have what I would say cheat meals, a restaurant vegan meal or something. And in the past with Starch Solution, if I had a bad meal, I'd gain 3 pounds on the weekend. And Monday I'm 3 pounds heavier. And it would take me the entire week. Like I would work 7 to 10 days of sticking to my Starch Solution plan to get that extra weight off. Now, if that happens, and I'm never 3 pounds heavier, but if I'm a pound or two up on Monday, it's off by Wednesday. Like I still have a successful week. The higher protein just helps with that. The other thing is, even if I'm up on Monday, every Monday, I'm still lower than the Monday before. So if I just look at Mondays, I'm being successful, which is kind of cool. So I think because I've been saying this for a little while now, but my focus here is no longer weight loss. It's fat loss. I got to target the fat, and that's what I'm doing. I'm doing, high enough protein to maintain my muscle while I'm lowering my calories to 1400 in order to target the fat. So my body's forced to burn off the fat when it's in a calorie deficit, and it's working. Like I've heard critics talk about this and how like it's never going to work. You're starving yourself. I'm not starving myself, right? I'm just having a calorie deficit, which you need to lose weight. And at the same time, I'm building muscle because I'm eating a lot of protein. So the numbers work here, and I'm pretty excited just to see progress like this. I'm a teacher, you know that. So I'm a numbers person. Like I have to see numbers to know to buy into this, and here they are. All right, so what's not so good about this? Well, other than having to go to the gym 3 times a week with a personal trainer and the money, other than that, what's really not good about this is that digestion sucks. In fact, I'll talk about this in a minute, but for years on the Starch Solution or as a whole food plant-based eater, if I go to the restroom, I just sit down, I do my business, I'm done in like 3 minutes, and that's it. And I would get up and move on with my life. And sometimes that happened once a day, sometimes that happened 3 times a day, but there was never any pain. It was just kind of, oh, I have to go to the restroom. So I would sit down and do it and be done and move on. And it happened every day, really, at 6 o'clock, which was in the morning, which was great. So it was kind of a regular system. And sometimes I had to go to work, but sometimes not. And sometimes when I got home. And it was just very like easy going, very kind of like, this is how it goes. And there's just no straining and no pressure of any kind. And that's not the case anymore. So I probably have the digestion that a lot of people have in America where they, where things just don't flow the way they're supposed to. So I've tried introducing more fiber back into my diet because I'm not getting a lot of fiber like I was, but I need fiber. So, people would complain in my Starch Solution group that, oh, I don't know how you eat beans every day and all that. Like, I can't have more than like a cup of beans a day or more than a cup of fiber a day because I get bloating and I get cramps. And I was like, what are you talking about? That's like not a thing. It doesn't happen. Like there's no way. I've eaten 100 grams of fiber a day for years. That's never happened. Well, they were all telling the truth. I just trying to jump back into fiber and say, oh, I'm at 50 grams of fiber today. I want to get back on track. Holy smoke. Oh my gosh, I was out the whole weekend. Like I couldn't move off the couch. Like I had cramps. Oh man, it was so painful. So I've learned I've have to kind of work my way back up to that point. So all of you who had said that and I didn't buy into it or believe it, I stand corrected. You were right. So I'm working my way back to do that. One of the things I've done is I've scaled back my protein from 140 grams to 120. Having 120 grams a protein instead of 140 gives me a lot more opportunity to have a lot more whole foods in my life, which gives me more fiber. So now I'm just adding fibrous foods here and there slowly to try and build my tolerance back up so I can be back to where I was. I'll still have to have some processed food. There's nothing I can do about it at 1,400 calories and 120 grams of protein, but I'm kind of trying to find a happy medium point. And you'll notice that in one of my last videos on plant-based diets, my meals are much more whole food based because I'm trying to get more fiber in for sure. All right, so I mean, as a summary, how am I doing all this? Why is it working so well? You know, it's interesting because every time I go into the trainer, they're like, "You're a success story. Like, look at you." When I look at myself, I don't see any difference. Like, do I look any different to you guys? I don't know, right? Does it look like I'm getting anywhere? But they're like, you know, your arms are like much bigger. You've slimmed down a lot. And I'm like, I've still got a long way to go. Like, I'm carrying a lot of fat. And they're like, yeah, but you're getting there. You're on your way, and you are already a success story. So, I mean, that's kind of good to hear. I mean, I am paying him, so there's that. But here's what I'm doing. I'm tracking calories in and out. I'm making sure I know everything that goes in my mouth and everything I burn. I'm hanging out with like-minded people. I've got a Facebook group I'm doing now that's just called Plant-Based Dads, and it's all about high protein, vegan, lifestyle. And I'm making changes when needed, like this 140 to 120 protein thing. That's what I'm doing. If I have to walk more, I am. If I have to walk less, I am. If I have to, eat something because I have too much of a calorie deficit, then I am. I'm just making changes as I go. That is the trifecta of this program. All right, that's my video for today. Numbers and kind of where I am with this. If you're one of my supporters, thank you very much. If you're not one of my supporters, I'm just going to keep working hard to show you that you're wrong. Hit that like button, show me some love. Click on the subscribe button. You get notified every time we have a new video. I don't know how often that is. And leave a comment below. Are you doing this with me? If you are, let me know. Like, I'm so much stronger when I'm doing this with someone else, right? And I'd love to do this with you. Remember, if you're on Cronometer and you're making plant-based diet recipes, we can be friends on Cronometer, and then when you use my recipe, you just look up my recipe, put it in, and all your macros will be there. You don't have to type anything out. Cronometer requires you to be a premium, some sort of paid member to be friends with, to add me as a friend, but it doesn't require that. But I am a premium member, and I can add you as a friend for free. All you have to do is email me at plantbaseddads@gmail.com and say, hey, I'm on Cronometer. Here's the address I'm using, the email address I'm using on Cronometer. Can you add me as a friend? Because I don't have to pay, you don't have to say this, but because I don't have the paid version, I don't want to pay for it, right? And I don't blame you. Can you add me as a friend? And so I can track your macros, and I sure will. I've got like 1,000 friends on Cronometer now, and many of them just emailed me their email address and said, here's my email address on Cronometer. Can you please add me as a friend? And that's it, and I'll do that for you. All right, let me know below how you're doing with this. We're going to have another scan here in probably a week and a half. Maybe I'll have another video before that. We probably will. When I hit the 159s, I'll have surpassed 12 pounds, and I'll be in a new decade of numbers. Like, I'll be excited, and I'll probably share that with you. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.